This is Tom's World Beer Tour, a podcast story featuring Tom Bowman and Tom Bradley. Now, crack one open and let the tour begin.
I don't think anybody's surprised to find out we already done crack one open. We already did.
Well, the voice guy said crack one open.
But I mean, we did it before he even told us to.
Well, we do what we're told, which is have a tailgate beer.
We did produce the open. We told him what to say, so we knew what he was going to say.
Yeah.
I got to admit on that thing. I feel like this is going to be such a short show. I'm going to let everybody know. This is like a housekeeping note right up ahead of time at the beginning.
Short show.
It's going to be a short show, very brief. We have very little planned, and it's only the two of us. Probably won't have much to talk about. I'm sure we won't go off on any tangents out there.
So you're thinking you want to give an over-under? I'm going to say 55 minutes is the over-under. You want to take the under or the over?
No, I don't. Well, first of all, you get it's a real fantasy. It's almost like a sexual fantasy for you to achieve over an hour on this podcast. I really truly think it is. I think there's some titillation involved with you if you get over an hour. You know.
I mean, at this point in my life, I get over 5 minutes.
I completely understand what you're talking about. Tell me what you're having over there as a tailgate beer.
This was a conversational beer back when I was in Orlando.
Yeah.
The High Lie, Indian Pale Ale, Cigar City Brewing, which I picked up at the local 7-Eleven near the rental house when I went on that glorious vacation to Disney World.
That's when you told everybody you were going out for cigarettes, and you don't even smoke. Too many kids, too much family, too much going on inside one dwelling.
They're still there.
Yeah, that's good for you. You got the hell out of there. And then you had an accusation. We'll explain in a second, but I have a KC Beer Co. out of Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, I see what's happening. On the side of that label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me.
This one over here is different.
Hold on now. Do you have all three shots up on the video?
No.
If you're listening to the podcast, that's great. You won't see anything.
I'll just go to the beer shot.
That's fine. You won't see anything we're talking about, but if you want to watch the video on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, you'll see some of the things we bring up. And so today is actually a very special episode. It's episode number 14. 14. As I knew it was 14. And this is the retribution. This is the revenge. This is the comeback for you. We had the whiskey challenge. We'll explain how it happened earlier. You've got the sheet still.
I still have the yellow sticky where you can see that I guessed correctly and then scratched it out.
The yellow sticky? Is that to keep from saying the Post-it because that's a
name brand?
Trademarked?
I don't know if these are Post-its or not. I steal them from work, so maybe it is. I don't know.
Somebody has a yellow sticky. I don't know. No, you keep it, please. That's up to you.
That's right.
Hang on to that.
In the world of COVID, you keep all the yellow sticky to yourself.
That's right. You had a challenge. It was a hell of a challenge we put in front of you. You picked out 10 whiskeys off of your bar.
I did.
And I chose 5 of those so that you weren't too much, planting the crop yourself. I chose 5, and then it was a blind tasting for you. You knew which 5 they were.
Right.
Just the not planting, not seeding it up, is that you didn't put 5 out that you knew the absolute difference between all of them. So I got to pick that, and then you went through the 5. You didn't ace it, but it was difficult, wasn't it?
I'm going to officially go on the record that I did technically pick 3 of the 5, but I changed last minute and ended up with 1 out of 5. But I'm sticking with 3 out of 5 because I should have followed my gut. I think you should do the same.
Well,
my advice to you is follow your gut.
All right.
Don't go scratching crap out.
Because today is the beer challenge. Now, whiskeys, did we go with all bourbons?
No, we threw a couple of ryes in there.
And so it was all whiskey though. And today we decided it's not fair for you to pick out a stout, a brown ale,
you
an
just
IPA.
look at the glass and go, it's a visual challenge.
I could swirl it and go, okay.
All right, that's a stout, that's an IPA.
So you said it had to be one style. And I said, okay. Now, I don't know what the toughest one is. I really don't. What the toughest style would be to go in and check out. IPAs can be palate wreckers. So I could be getting in trouble, but I went with IPAs, and I picked out 10, just like you did with whiskeys. And then you, just as I did, will be able to select 5 from there.
Correct.
And then make the decision.
And the reason we're doing this, ironically, we always tape this on Wednesdays. So it's now Wednesday. It's April 7th, which is a beer holiday. It's National Beer Day today.
Now, who decides that?
I don't know. I went on Wikipedia. You know how that works, and looked it up. So National Beer Day, celebrated in the United States every year on April 7th, marking the day that the Cullen-Harrison Act was enacted after being signed into law by President Franklin D. Roosevelt on March 22nd, 1933.
Oh.
This led to the 18th Amendment being repealed on December 5th, 1933, with the ratification of the 21st Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, April 6th. The day prior to National Beer Day is known as New Beer's Eve.
Oh, I gotcha.
I think it's some bullshit.
I
But it's a good reason to drink beer. And since our show is Tom's World Beer Tour,
yeah.
we felt obligated that this is sort of what we need to talk about today.
Now, it's very seldom that we're really focused in on beer. I mean, we have sometimes we focus on everything else but beer. We're drinking always during it. So beer is the vehicle that leads to the conversation, which would bring up what we need to move on now, and that's our conversational beer.
Wow, we're getting in, right?
Well, we don't have to jump right in, but I do have it called up in front of me because this is the tune that you're going to be playing along with your trombone. We can get you one before long. Do you feel it?
Oh, yeah.
Feel it? Apparently you do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the conversational beer intro music. Soon to be featuring Tom Bowman on the trombone.
This is how the old school G's do it back in SoCal.
Yeah, oh, I
They
got
stay
you.
in one spot, and they hold their hands like this,
Uh-huh.
and they just do this.
And they just hold it out. If you're watching video, you get to watch them dance, and that might be a reason for you to never watch our videos.
That would be a good
I
reason
know.
for you to go to your favorite podcast
And
and subscribe and download and only listen to Tom's World Beer Tour.
and where do you find those podcasts? This is housekeeping.
You find them wherever you listen and download the podcast. How about this? You could go to the Tom's World Beer Tour Facebook page. I give you the links all the time directly to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher,
That's
iHeart,
right.
you name it.
That's right.
You hit subscribe so that on Thursday mornings it shows up on your inbox. My youngest son, who lives in North Carolina, the week we didn't have a show, hit me up and said, "Man, I cannot wait to hear the show tomorrow." And I went, "Yeah, there's no show tomorrow."
Ooh.
And he was kind of bummed out. He's like, "Oh, it's my commute."
Yeah.
And so
Well, it happens.
we people rely on us, is what I'm telling you. People rely on this show.
There are more important things to
get
rely on
work.
than this right here. The conversational beer. It's we haven't had it yet because the number one thing is we can never duplicate the conversational beer. I went with an IPA of all freaking things.
But that makes sense, though.
Well, yeah, a lot of the IPs we're going to go through are closer to our homeland.
I should grab these.
I went with something that has more greater distribution out of the Chicagoland and Illinois area, and then I'm not even sure where they aren't served, and that would be from Goose Island Brewing, and this is their IPA.
These are
And-
lovely.
And I know that they've made others besides just the straight-ahead IPA, but that's simply what they call it, which is interesting that these guys, brewers come up with names for their beers. Some of them simply call it the Goose Island IPA. Others would call it something like Goose Island's "Fuck, that's good beer," right?
Really?
and its style is listed lower as an IPA, an Indian Pale Ale.
Right.
Others just simply just name it IPA, and so this is the Goose Island IPA. Are you you doing okay over there?
Yeah.
Can you open mine for me?
So
also?
I'm using this really fancy wine opener that has a bottle opener on it, and I had to figure out how in the hell did they?
It's almost like a backwards kind of a
It's
thing.
a little strange, right?
So thank you for that. And these aren't going to be real chilled, but I don't need my beer very cold. In an IPA, you're going to get a lot of flavor.
I love IPAs. I think what's going to be nice in your challenge, as we look through, and we'll introduce these
damn,
in a
that's
few
good.
minutes. There's some differences, right? There are some subtleties to IPAs. People
There
think
are.
IPAs are all super hoppy, kind of skunky, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Listen, before we jump into the beer challenge, let's talk about,
Oh, that is good.
right? Let's talk about, and I'm coming off of the Pure Pills from KC Beer Co. So this is a lot milder flavor going to an IPA. Let's talk about some of the wishful thinking we've had on upcoming episodes and get people involved a little bit in thinking about also, if you want to hit us with an email, which you can give them that because you'll remember.
Tom's World Beer Tour at gmail.com.
Thank you.
There you go.
And we are going to go to some breweries. We truly, because of COVID crap, we've been holding out quite a bit.
Of course.
We're getting a lot closer today to starting to open it up. We have friends that would surely allow us in and have a great time, but we want other people to be around having a good time too.
We're not opposed to a road trip.
Not at all.
I'm just saying, if you're in Colorado or Arkansas, if you're someplace where we ride, Arkansas, places like that. Let us know. We're in.
Well, and we may wind up doing some weekend trips where we actually produce and record the podcast over the weekend. It'll still be released, though, on a Thursday.
Of course.
And the video probably will come down on that Wednesday or something. I don't know. So that's coming up, and we've already got several that are lined up for that thing. We had so much fun talking about things like the bear trapping weeks and weeks ago. I think we're going to do some more hunting shows or outdoor stuff. People that work outdoors and get into this stuff with hunting, I don't know, fishing.
I'm not opposed to building an outdoor space. Hey, I want to do an outdoor kitchen. Let's talk about that.
That's a great idea.
Let's talk about landscaping. Let's talk about how to build screen porches. Let's talk about all that stuff.
While you're drinking beer.
Yeah.
All of it while you're
Anything
drinking
that
beer.
you drink beer while doing, we should be talking about.
Which brings up, we need to talk to like a wiffle ball champion, because wiffle ball is a great game. You can play that while drinking a beer.
So I don't know if he owns it anymore. There's a guy in L.A. who built himself he bought the lot next door to him so that he could build a wiffle ball stadium.
Well, what is a wiffle ball stadium like? Is there seating out there for spectators?
I want to say if I remember correctly, it's almost like a Wrigley type, style. I mean, it's small.
You mean the neighbors are building platforms on top of their roof?
That's right. No, they're on the
Ready to
roof
get
going,
out.
what are you doing over there? But this guy built this stadium. I think there were wiffle ball leagues for a long time. I need to find out from my friends that still live there if
Wow.
this guy still exists, because
I saw a video on social media like a week ago, and they were showing crazy-ass abilities by pitchers with wiffle balls.
Oh, yeah.
That I've never seen. I mean, I've seen guys that can make it curve and kind of
Sure.
make you look bad. This stuff was crazy.
It's something you could do with beers, too. I mean, you talk about beer softball leagues. Wiffle ball, if you're not drinking, something's wrong.
You know what? By the way, I've never had a problem with swinging a wiffle ball bat, but throwing the ball, I feel like I can throw my arm out. Did you see there was a Major League Baseball player that dislocated his shoulder this week?
No.
Swinging the bat?
Well, that's because pitchers shouldn't be swinging bats.
I don't. No. I don't. It was a Major League player. I don't know if I said.
Oh, I thought you said pitcher.
I'm sorry. Major League player, and actually, I don't know who it was now, but it happened last night.
Right.
But I digress. Wiffle ball, be an example. Bring them in, talk about it while we're drinking beer.
Yeah.
In fact, hook up the videos, have that broadcast outside, which is another thing that's coming up. More outside podcasts.
I think we'll do the Tom's World Beer Tour screened porch series.
Well, that'll be happening, but think about some of the breweries that we know very personally that have outdoor spaces for drinking
We
and
talked
hanging
about
out.
one today that should be coming up relatively soon.
So that's another thing, because we got started in November, so we haven't gotten into any of those kinds of things.
You know what's
yet.
across the street from that place, too, that'll tie into that show?
What's that?
The Biscuit Guys.
Yeah.
So food.
Oh, we need to do more food podcasts too.
I know, because here's the problem. We tape this show somewhere between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah.
That's close to dinner time.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we're done, we tear everything down, and it's past dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It's always better to do shows where there's food. Like last week, right? We were at 44 Stone. We had some pub fritters that held me over till I got home.
Oh, speaking of personal
I don't have
bodily
anything back
functions,
here.
did you pee before we got started?
Of course. Do you
Don't
have to now?
No,
Are
but
you
don't.
sure?
I'm sure I don't. Stop asking, because I don't have to pee. But you're the one who took that break way back when. Turn on the water. I don't need that thing. All right, let's get into the beer challenge.
Another swig here.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that. Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's do this. I'm going to, for those watching, I'm going to put on the beer cam. For those listening, I would like to go through these and have you just give me a little brief.
I want to. Can I just put something else on the table before we move on?
Sure.
Okay. It's just you and me on the podcast tonight.
You and I together on the podcast.
That was very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But we're not the only ones in the domicile.
No.
It's a wives audience tonight. We have
one
Well, yours is going to be here though at some point, right?
with food.
With food. My incredible wife is over here.
Yeah.
And
I'm not flipping the camera.
Is this no? You don't have to. Is this horrible? Is this terrible? Just no. Do you want a beer?
Isn't she on meds though? I mean,
She is on
it's
meds.
probably a great show right
Just
now.
let it go. She has a wounded wing right now.
Maybe we should take the same meds. It'd be a really good show.
She has a wounded shoulder that was operated on 2 weeks ago, and she's in recovery. But she is over here watching. So
Right.
that's the size audience we have today.
That's right. Speaking of meds, can I tell you something you should not do with meds as a kind of a public service announcement?
Did you do it?
So Sunday was Easter, right? And we had family over, and I had got the new griddle, right? So now in the backyard, I have
This is the
I have a
flat top.
I have a 4-burner flat top, 700 square inches, whatever, all that. Crap.
Yeah.
So they were all coming over later in the afternoon, and I was going to do smash burgers. That was the plan, right? Burgers and onions and all that stuff on the griddle. It's a beautiful day on Sunday, so I hopped on the bike and took off for a ride, hour and a half or so.
Nice.
My back's acting up. I can't get a shot because of vaccine. Anyways, so when I got back, I thought, well, you know what? Everyone's coming over. I don't want to be miserable. I'll just take this muscle relaxer at like 3 in the afternoon, and then I'll just do stuff, and that'll keep me busy so I won't fall asleep.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You were just out?
Well, first of all, I was fine after I first took it, and then about 15 minutes in, it was like I had done like 6 shots in a row.
Oh, God.
Like booze shots. And I was like, whoa, this thing.
You weren't drinking, though.
No. I wasn't drinking.
I mean, is it specific? You cannot mix those two things?
Well, I mean, you can. It's recreational, I suppose.
No,
but
I mean,
you shouldn't.
Well, and because of the pain meds over the last 2 weeks, I mean, she knows I'm real paranoid about
this
mixing
is
things.
Xanaflex. This is a really good muscle relaxer.
Really good one. Yeah,
Really good. And so it hit me, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to go lay down for an hour and a half.
Is that what you were, an hour and a half?
Hour and a half, I was out. Like
when you got up, were you just oblivious to everything?
I had to grab onto the door. Like I got out of bed.
Oh, God.
I stumbled over to the bedroom door. I opened up the door, and I'm like, whoa. And I was in a haze the rest of that afternoon.
Did you make the smash burgers?
Yeah.
In the haze?
Yeah.
Did anybody report back to you like the next day and tell you how they were? Not that day, the next day.
I did 12 smash burgers, and there was 1 left over.
So that's a good sign.
That's a good sign. So they got eaten.
By the way, did you go with like a large? I would do a big one, right?
What do you mean a big one?
For myself, like. All right. So a couple of my buddies, including Anthony Hayes, he came up with this idea. You smash the crap out of like a half pound, and you take that thing to like 10 inches.
Oh yeah, and it's over the
It's like it's ridiculous.
Right.
It's so good. He uses Saran wrap and rolls that bitch out underneath, in between the layers of that.
I should have done that. Here's what I did. I went to the local restaurant supply store, and I bought 2 spatulas, like kitchen grade spatulas
for the double smash.
For the double smash. One has holes in it, one does not. You put the one without down first, whatever, and you can do that. So I did that. By the way, everyone's looking at beer this whole time. So what I did was I got 3 1-pound packages of ground beef.
Yeah.
And they were sealed up in squares, which was kind of nice. So I took each square, cut it into 4s.
So you get a quarter pounder.
Took each square, kind of worked it a little bit, rolled it into a ball, and they went onto the griddle after I had taken care of about 3/4 of a pound of bacon on the griddle.
Okay, so nice and greasy and
plus an
seasoned
entire mound of onions.
Right.
With a little bit of oil, about 2/3 of a stick of butter. Just dropped it into the middle of the onions, let it all melt.
Yeah. Whoops! I threw some butter in. I'm sorry.
So so the smash burgers got on, and then what I wanted to do was create a cheese skirt. There is a place.
I'm sorry.
I'll tell you why. There is a burger joint.
Honey, I'm going to eat my way home. What the hell is a cheese skirt?
In Northern California, there is a hole-in-the-wall burger joint called the Squeeze In. It's been around for a long time. And what they're famous for is they do smash burgers.
Yeah.
And then they take finely shredded sharp cheddar cheese, and they put an entire handful not only on the burger, but it's like a mound that covers the burger.
So it's got the fingers of the cheese laying around it like it's a cheese skirt?
It hangs over the edge, and you get this brown,
Did
yummy,
they name it a cheese skirt, or did you?
No, they called it a cheese skirt.
God, I want to do that so bad.
And so I tried doing that, but when you're cooking 12 of these, because normally what you do is you take a little lid, which I also bought at the restaurant supply store, a little cover lid.
Yeah.
So that you could put it down, squirt a little water in there, create steam, so that it then helps melt everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to do that. So they didn't come out exactly like I wanted. But
do you feel like a short order cook on this thing? Do you feel like you're working the griddle back
I was working it hard in a haze.
Yeah, but you were. I've never taken a muscle relaxer. I've really had almost 0 drugs in my entire life. I just don't like the idea. For a guy that really enjoys beer, I just stick with that.
Well, I don't like the feeling either. I mean, it felt like I had done.
Well, you're in
6 shots
pain
a row.
and you had to do it, and then it will put you to sleep, and so there is a joy in that.
I was loopy.
Wow.
I was loopy, and I was probably a little antisocial at that point. There was little kids running around finding plastic eggs in my yard.
Do you want to be smashed on my grill? I know we will probably do a burger show sometime, but I got to tell you, when I was young, the Big Mac is 2 patties. I don't know what they are. They're an 1/8 pound, or
It's almost like a club sandwich, is what it is.
Yeah,
They got an extra bun in the middle.
When they came up with the Quarter Pounder, like I didn't know what a size of a burger was. When they introduced that, it was what 1973, 4, something like that. I'm like, oh, that's a big burger. Well, at the age of 10, maybe I thought it was a decent sized burger.
Sure.
I don't know. Man, a 1/4 pound is not big. If you do a 1/3 pound, and, no, for a smash burger, it's good. Now that's fine. But if you're doing like a bigger burger, especially if it's something on a barbecue grill, you got to go to at least a 1/3 pound. I wouldn't mind a 1/2 pound. If you get above that, you're kind of it's overkill at that point.
Right.
But a 1/4 pound is too small on a live fire.
See, I would rather have 2 1/4 pound patties thin.
I will agree with
than
that.
1 1/2 pound thick.
If you're going to throw a piece of cheese between the two.
Yeah, why not?
Well, that's good.
But you can do that with one patty too. You can put a piece of cheese on top, piece of cheese on the bottom. I mean,
no, because you need those 2 quarter pound burgers. They do have the double 1/4 pounder.
I do, and I like
make
that.
it easy.
Some of my favorite burgers in town are always double 1/4 pound patties that are griddled, which is why I have a griddle. I do ribeye steaks on them on Saturday.
Have you tried to do thin ribeye steaks for sandwiches yet?
Not yet. I did fajitas with skirt steak and chicken to break it in with about 50 pounds of peppers and onions.
Good God.
Dude, I'm not kidding. I need the little short order cook hat.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Okay, let's get into this beer challenge, because I know you're dying to. I think what you'd like to see is that I'm as nervous as you were, and guess what? I am.
Good.
Let's talk. Are we just? What are we doing?
We're just on the beer.
Is that all you're focusing on the?
Just on the beer, right?
All right. So
the first one here,
is
from Public House, dry fly.
Right. So that's it's a fishing term, it's a trout fishing term, generally speaking. And Public House is a brewery in Missouri that makes session beers. A session beer means you can sit down for a full session and drink without getting overly intoxicated.
Oh.
So they're not going to put out 9.2 beers. That's not going to happen.
I never know. Is that really what that means?
A session beer, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so you can go to the pub and have a session of drinking with your friends, hanging out. Maybe you're playing cards. Maybe you're throwing darts. But if you start going into 9.2 or 11.3 beers, I mean, you can't do pints.
I mean, so at that point, Bud Heavy is a session beer.
Yeah, it's 5.0. Yes, it's a session beer.
All right. So this is 4.5.
Yeah, and for an IPA, that's really low.
Very low.
Okay, so
low.
And I drink that probably a couple of times a year, which I have to also tell you how often I drink these, because you need to know.
You mean beer?
No. These specific beers
every day.
No, I drink beer every single day.
When's the last day that you did not have? I'm not trying to put you in this weird light of you have a problem, because you clearly don't.
I may or may not have a problem. It has zero to do with whether or not I have a beer every day.
When's the last time you went an entire day without having a beer?
It's been some time.
Right? A year?
Yeah, I did. Oh, it's over a year.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I mean, you got to understand that I have a goal, which is to behave and maintain so that I can have at least a beer every day.
Okay.
Because if I'm not able to maintain and behave myself, then I don't get to have that. And that becomes a change in my life that I really don't want to have. Now, I have done some stints without it. We did a Lenten season where I said, okay, I'm taking it off for 7 weeks. And I don't drink anything else mostly. So it was complete alcohol for 7 weeks. And, I stopped going to happy hours because they're not fun. Everybody else.
They're unhappy hours.
They're unhappy hours. There are a lot of great things you can do when you're not drinking. I love playing basketball, and I cannot play basketball if I'm having a beer. It doesn't work at all.
Right.
I worked out in the yard yesterday for about 8 hours straight. I did not have a beer the entire time because it was really hard labor, and I could not have a beer during that. It was only water.
In that 24-hour period,
I had a beer.
You had a beer.
Oh, yeah.
Probably as soon as you were done.
As soon as I was done, as soon as I was finished with all the hard work, it was time for beer. Okay, next up.
The next one up is Dogfish Head 60-minute IPAs. I mean, it takes you an hour to drink it?
No. But I will tell you this. I am more of a I won't say, I guess fan is the word for it, but I'm more familiar with their 90-minute IPA. And so the 60-minute is gonna hit me out of the blue. And you may be taking some of this as clues as what to give me. I don't know that it will. In the end, you're going to pick out 5 beers, and we'll see if I can name them. All right. What's next?
Next one is the Missouri Mule IPA.
Right, and
This
those
would
are
be, from Piney River, which is
our
down,
friends at
down
Piney
south.
River. And
We like the Piney River.
Brian and I talked years ago, and I said, I like every beer you make. And he said, you know why? I said, why? He said, every one I make is for my palate.
Right.
So I don't ever venture off of that. So if you and I kind of agree palate-wise, we're going to be okay. And if we never agree, you'll probably not like my
Well,
beers.
and they also have made a great root beer before.
Yes, they have with his son Andy. So
Absolutely.
And I do like that, and I probably have Missouri Mule about 3-4 times a year also.
We don't need to describe this one much. This is the High Life, the Indian Pale Ale, Cigar City. This is my tailgate beer today.
First drank that in Florida,
Yep.
and I like that, and I brought one in today. Go
Nice.
on.
And then you got a little helper, the Midwest Coast India Pale Ale from Mother's.
Yeah, only calling
Right
it
there.
Midwest Coast because it's out of Missouri. Mother's Brewing is a fun brewery, and they have a lot of fans that they like their attitude, right?
Well, it's the logo too that has that sort of that tattooy. There you go.
Yeah,
See
it's
it right there.
and the typically I'll drink that only at bars. I don't buy it very often as a 6-pack.
Right.
And I usually have it at a bar, sometimes on tap, maybe not. And so I probably have it 10 to 12 times a year.
All right, sounds good. Then we got from Casey Beer Company, which is different than the Casey Beer Company that you're drinking, that Pure Pills.
Yeah, this is a Pure Pills,
This
and
is-
you have what?
This is their this is the what do they call this? A Mandarina IPL?
It's an IPL.
What is that?
Because they specialize in lagers. And so you can choose or not choose that as one of the beers. It's an India Pale Lager. Now, a lager is fermented at a lower temperature.
Interesting.
And so it requires, in today's world, it requires a little bit more expense
All right.
in order to do that. And I've been there and toured the brewery. They're wonderful folks, great beer. And I haven't had that. I don't think I've had it since I was at the brewery.
See,
This last
if
year.
you're listening closely to this,
Yeah.
I think there are times when you're trying to give me hints on things that maybe I should stay away from, and then maybe hints on
I
things
already-
that, maybe I should go to.
I already knew going in that you might feel, I thought, all I can do is do what I do best. I need to be honest.
All right, fair
That's
enough.
it. All right.
Broadway Brewery.
That's out of Columbia, Missouri, and that's their 11-point IPA. That's named after the 11-point river at the Missouri-Arkansas border. The 11-point is not as harsh or as hazy or as fruity as a lot of IPAs out there. And I have found this year I've purchased it more than other years, like in the last 12 months, if you will. I've really grown to like it, to have it in my beer fridge, just available for when I want something. Yeah.
Nice. Another local that we love, Snapper IPA from Logboat Brewing.
Snapper I drink all year round.
White wine finish, which seems odd,
Yeah.
but there's something about it. I will tell you this: if you don't think you're an IPA person, this is a really good gateway IPA.
Snapper I drink pretty much every week the entire year.
Every wink.
Every week.
Hello, hey.
All 3 of my kids have said it's at some point their number 1 beer. All 3 of my kids. And I was like, when they told me that, it wasn't something that I had pushed at all. In fact, I think they were all drinking age before Snapper was even first produced. Anyway, it's a great beer. We like it. It's a go-to for me all the time.
You might hear of Logboat in the future. You never know.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to Schlafly. Bless you.
Schlafly is one of the first craft brewers that I really had a chance to get involved with. It was their their simple pale ale was my go-to. And this is their IPA. Schlafly is out of St. Louis. They call themselves the second largest or the biggest craft brewer out of St. Louis. Obviously, they'd be behind Anheuser-Busch. Great beers, great attitudes. And they have 2 different rooms. I think one is more of a pub with food and one's a tasting room kind of a thing, I think in the St. Louis area. And I don't get that beer very often. I probably get their pale ale 4, 5, 6 times a year. And this one 2 times a year is my guess.
All right. And then number 10, another local favorite of ours, Big Tree.
Big Tree IPA is from Burr Oak Brewing, and it is, unlike 11-point, it has a little more of like, what up kind of flavor to it. It comes at you a little bit, which is why I probably don't purchase it as much as 11-point. But I have other beers from Burr Oak that I purchase all the time.
Sure. And if people remember correctly, we did a show from Como Smoke and Fire Big Tree IPA was the conversational beer.
And as we were talking about future podcasts coming up, we've already talked to Burr Oak, and Dan over there is going to be having us out very soon when we all feel like it's the right time, and I can't wait for that one.
We have two phenomenal craft breweries. I mean, Broadway Brewing is there too. I mean, but there's a handful, but two spectacular craft beer joints.
You know what? Which brings up something else. I was at the original granddaddy of craft brewing in our town this week, and they've got the Crowler canner. So a Crowler is a can growler, and I didn't know that they had it. That's going to bring up the opportunity for you and I to maybe have some people pick some up while they're traveling around and drop them off to us, so we can make that our conversational beer coming up. So if you're going through Iowa, I don't care, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, and you want to pick up like 3 or 4 of those Crowlers, we'll throw you a little change. We'll take care of you.
We're not afraid.
We'll pay for our beer, damn it.
I can Venmo you.
Yeah, we'll do that. Or say we're going to.
Do you know what that is, by the way? Venmo.
Yeah, I'm hip enough.
Are you sure?
Yeah. It's you electronically send somebody a what's up.
Just what's up?
A what's up in the way of monetary value. Are you ready to do your choosing?
I am ready.
All right, I've got a beer.
I am ready. Now you're gonna see the 5. I'm gonna show you the 5.
I can feel my embarrassment temperature going up. I'm really worried.
Once again, let me remind you, it's not easy.
Yeah, there's the yellow sticky.
Follow your gut. You'll see where I had it right and crossed it out.
Yeah.
And had it right and crossed it out.
All right.
I would have been 3 for 5, which was a pretty good score.
I am putting down my IPA. I'm grabbing the Pilsner, and I'm going to turn around now.
Okay.
What do you got in your hand?
Well, I'm going to give you this yellow sticky. See,
that's
said
mine.
Yellow sticky.
Okay.
That's yours.
Let me turn around.
Well, you don't want to see the 5 first?
Wait a second. Oh, yeah, I do. That's right. I get to see the 5.
I'm going to show you the 5.
Well, you heard my descriptions of these. I know my beer.
Now, mind you, too, let me also give this disclaimer. When we did the whiskey tasting, I was, a week out of COVID, for God's sakes?
Oh, God. Here the excuses keep
I'm
coming.
just
and
saying.
I told you it's difficult. Are you do you think I'm going to ace this thing?
I don't know. I'm not picking.
Okay, wait a second. I will not be making any comments right now that would lead you in one direction or another. I'm only
not
listening.
picking Cigar City Highlight for a couple of reasons. One, we drink it. We've had it.
All right.
I'm drinking it now with this other IPA with Goose Island. I do like Mother's, so I do think Mother's should be one of them.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to go there. Now, you got the KC beer already.
My hand over here?
Your Pure Pills. And then you also have this IPL. Now, the fact that you're drinking a Pilsner, this sounds like the Princess Bride. I clearly cannot drink the one in front of you.
You only think.
That's right.
Okay, all right.
Inconceivable that I would put this IPL in front of you while you're drinking a Pilsner.
That's funny.
From said bottle. It's going out.
That's fine. That's up to you.
That's
up to you.
It's out.
I cannot wait to have that beer.
Snapper, one of my favorite go-tos. There's some in this beer fridge down here. Too easy.
Wow.
Too easy.
See, you're making a lot of choices on this thing. I couldn't do that with your whiskeys.
No, because you didn't know them. At least
I
sort of know some of these.
All right.
I do like the Dogfish Head 60-minute.
The 60-minute IPA from
we all dream of being
Dogfish
a
Head Brewing.
60-minute guy, and
all right.
so at least drinking that, maybe you'll feel that way.
Very good.
Let's see. You don't get the Schlafly very often, so I think maybe that's a good one to throw in there.
I feel like
now,
I gave
mind
you
you,
way too much information on this.
This order that I'm putting them in will not be the order, by the way, when you turn around.
I know.
Once again, local, Big Tree, bold flavor. Might trip you up a little bit. So I'm going to go Big Tree. I'm going to give a little love to our friends over at Burr Oak, who we appreciate.
That was really an
love.
interesting choice by you, and I think you did that correctly because it could trip me up. Okay.
And now we get into 3 that I don't know. I do not know these 3. I've never had these 3. You got this Missouri Mule IPA. You got the Public House Dry Fly, which is a session.
Yes.
Very low in alcohol, 4.5%.
Yes.
All of these are above that, way above that. And then Broadway Brewery with the 11-point IPA. I think the low alcohol content might be interesting against everything else. And it'll be interesting to see what order I put everything in based on that.
Okay. All right.
So these beers will go over here.
Well, let me tell you that I think I would have recognized the High Life maybe. I really like the India Pale Lager, but I can't I don't know what it looks like, by the way.
Sure.
I don't know if I would be able to pull that out. You were right to take the snapper out of the mix.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And
I may be dumb, but I ain't stupid.
oh, and then one more thing about Missouri Mule IPA. They changed the can, but even before they changed and went from a pint can to a 12-ounce can, I felt like their recipe shifted slightly. I'm not mad at them. I wasn't unhappy, but I noticed a little bit of a change. And it could have been me. It could have been a graduation of my palate and experiences. It goes back a number of years. So that one could have wound up being a really weird one for me, trying to pick out. Okay. So you made some good choices. I've got some really tough decisions coming up in front of me. I'm only going to ask you for one favor.
Yeah.
I want you to move the beers somewhere else when I go to taste them.
Okay.
Just, if you can put them back lined up over there. I just don't want them sitting next to the glasses. I think that's too much influence.
No, I agree. And what I need to do is, real quick while we're chatting, let's once again go over the ones that we're doing, right? There is, there's Mother's, right? Because I need to be able to put the numbers in there. There's the Dogfish Head.
I'm just going to put 1 through 5 on the side of my yellow sticky.
That's fine. That's
yellow
fine.
Sticky.
There's also the Shafley, which we talked about, is up there.
Right.
The Big Tree.
I think a lot of people are going to wonder if Tom Bradley can pull this crap off.
Can we remind people that, I mean, listen, a lot of people know who you are. They know what you do. But do they also know that you produce, put on, are the promoter of the largest beer fest in the state of Missouri?
Well, I don't know that a lot of people know that.
Well, they do now.
But being an event promoter, being a marketeer, is not the same thing as being able to
it's
decipher
different than being
IPAs.
a mouseketeer. I can tell you that.
But I do recognize the breweries that join in are partners of the distributors and what they have, and I know what we're bringing to the table. And so you've got to know the product if you're going to be involved in something like a beer festival or a film festival or a book festival or a burger festival.
Now,
all right, you're going to pour. I'm going to
pour
around.
Now, from your left to your right will be 1 through 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
1 through 5.
I'm
right?
turning
so
around.
You turn around. In fact,
okay.
if you want to, look out there and notice that underneath my stairs, there is a blue jay building a freaking nest.
You want me to kick his ass while you're pouring this?
It needs to be taken care of.
To
be honest with you.
Go ahead and start pouring.
I'm doing it
I want to tell you that
I've never poured in these tiny glasses.
This is the most nervous I've been when a grown man said turn around since I had my prostate exam. It really.
I know your doctor, by the way.
He waves at you with one finger. He's like, no.
No. It's better than waving at you with 3.
I don't know. That's probably true.
All right, so I'm still kind of pouring.
Waving. He saluted, for God's sakes. I started singing the national anthem.
Some of these.
Say.
Can you? Some of these pour better in those little glasses.
God, I'm really
others.
worried. I'm really worried.
All right, so there's that one. That would be that one. Got it. And then we go
then finally
here.
There.
I'm pouring the third one, trying not to get it all over my bar. So there we go.
You by the way, you like a hazy IPA.
I love hazy.
And I was buying single beers to be able to get 10 of them arranged. It took me 2 trips, 2 different places to go where they had some singles and had things I could pick up. If I had gone to buy 6-packs, I could have found some really great hazies to put in there. But most of these are not what you would call a hazy IPA, generally speaking.
I noticed that. And once again, very fruit forward. I like the hazies.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Oh, and I guess that is another thing you got with the IPL, the India Pale Lager from KC Beer Co. They use a serious filtering machine. It is using a centrifuge. They have a centrifuge machine that filters out. So theirs is an absolutely clean look in a glass. So you made a good choice on that one.
Tell me more. Oh, would you like to turn around?
Can I?
You may, sir. Turn around. Turn around.
I'm scared already.
So let me turn this just a hair. By the way, I love that picture of us is hilarious. It's always on the quote unquote set when we do the show from here.
Yeah.
By the way, we're both drinking beers in that picture. That's the Iron Horse Hotel in Milwaukee that had robes in it, so we decided why not put the robes on.
And we were drinking beer in that picture. All right,
my friend.
I have 5 IPAs in front of me.
So we're gonna go.
And where are they? Let me see them. I just don't want them in an order sitting next to them over here.
I mean,
can you just put them where I can look at?
Little Helper, the Shafley, the Dogfish, the Dry Fly, the Big Tree.
The Big Tree.
There's
I'm gonna
no
go,
particular order. And
I'm going to
mind
go
you,
in order to help
number
myself.
1 through number 5, your left to your right.
Okay. I can't even tell you that the colors aren't helping me at all off the bat.
You know what's funny? Only one of them stands out to me.
God, damn it.
Have
Just
you
the
ever had-
smell alone made me think of one of those beers.
Have you
and I
ever
could be
had
wrong.
beer in what would be considered a whiskey Glencairn glass? 'Cause
Well,
that's
I've,
what that is.
I've had beer in a lot of different glasses in flights. When you go somewhere and you get 4 to 6 of them.
Plastic
at a time.
cup, jelly jar.
Well, no. I mean, they're just all kinds of shapes. And so, and some lend themselves better to others. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You said go with my gut instinct, right?
Listen, learn from my mistake last time. If I would have followed my gut, which I did, my gut got 3 out of 5.
Okay.
My
all right.
brain got 1 out of 5 because it screwed me up.
That was the first one. I'm going into the second IPA.
Once again, there are 5
Much-
IPAs.
Much more, and do not take this wrong if it's your brewery or your favorite beer, but compared to the first one, a lot of skunk jumped out of the beer at me.
Interesting. Interesting.
I'm putting that off to the side.
Okay.
I'm putting it off to the side.
All right.
I will come back to that. I'm
Gotcha.
thinking about a couple.
So
of
now
them.
the third. Once again, for those of you watching, you can kind of see
God,
Mr.
complete
Bradley
different.
going through this. Now you know what I was going through because now your taste buds are on fire. It's different when you drink one and you got a little bit of time between them, maybe a glass of water, whatever, maybe a little food.
Yeah.
But you're going from 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. It messes with you a little bit. By the way, I'm killing that bird after this show, by the way.
You're watching that blue jay?
It's distracting me because he's building a nest underneath my stairs outside of my screen porch.
A tremendous difference in and I know it doesn't seem like to anybody else, but in difference, this is really filtered out.
One looks
and a
like I
golden.
am dehydrated. The other one looks like maybe I had a little bit of water after a run.
This one almost looks like this one almost looks like you poured some kind of citrus into water and came up with that.
Yeah, it's not a hazy.
Oh,
But it
wow.
has-
You're making me think about that one. Let me take a sip of this thing. This is number 4.
It's numero 4. It's hard, isn't it?
This is really, really hard. And by the way, doing no cleansing in between.
No.
And I know people would say, well, your palate's wrecked. I'm like, I don't know how you can say wrecked. There are so many differences between each one of these.
Sure.
This could be that one,
Okay.
but I already listed it as maybe one of the others. It could also be this one. Okay. And the fifth
I love this.
and the fifth beer.
While you're drinking that fifth beer, I'm going to enjoy, once again, our conversational beer, which you can get just about anywhere. I know we have people in Texas and Wisconsin
this
and
is
California
so
and
damn difficult.
Pennsylvania that listen to this. Goose Island should be easy to get wherever you are. This delicious Goose Island IPA. It's on tap at a ton of places, too.
I'm pretty sure this is here.
Yeah, are you?
I'm pretty sure.
So your gut says one thing and your brain says another.
Well, 1 and 5 is no. 1 and 5, my gut was like, boom, it just went directly to it. So I'm going to go with that. If I go with, I didn't pick out Mothers. It didn't come up in any of them. So I got to go figure out 2, 3, and 4 are the ones I'm still wondering about.
Okay.
So let me see if I can place them. I thought Schlafly IPA would just bark at me. I really did. And I don't, well, my gut was Schlafly on number 3. I'm going back in. It really gets rough, doesn't it?
I tell you what, before you make all your choices,
Yeah.
I'll give you an option.
Don't help
Like
me.
Monty Hall.
Don't.
No. I'm going to give you an option like Monty Hall.
No, wait a second. Wait a second. If you give me an option,
No, it has
and
nothing to do with the choices. I'm just going to give you an option.
does it mean I can bail right now and just
You
walk
can
home?
bail right now if you recognize publicly that in the whiskey world, my palate's stronger than yours in the beer world.
I'm not giving you anything till I go through this. Are you kidding me? Did you see what I wrote down over here?
No, I'm not paying attention.
Okay, thank you.
No.
All right.
Plus, I couldn't read it anyways. You write like a 4-year-old.
I actually printed better when I was 4.
Did you?
Look, everybody has their strengths.
Of course, I
and their
wrote with a
years.
Sharpie, so there you go. What do you want me to tell you? I only had one pen down here in my bag.
Wow. And back to number 4. If I write it down,
God, this is great. I am so glad that today is National Beer Day. Now, once again, any day ending in Y is theoretically National Beer Day. Please do not hesitate to drink beer on a day that ends in Y.
Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and before I get wasted on these things, I'm just going to go ahead with you said trust the gut.
Trust the gut.
And so I'm going to go with that. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. 1 and 5 came through to me that they were right. And if maybe I got 0 out of 5.
Well, we'll find out. So let's go through your list.
This is going to be crazy. Can I cleanse this thing with a Pilsner right now?
Yeah, please. Why not? Why not? You want to crack open one of these other ones?
No. That's a lot of IPA. That's a lot of beer I just drank.
This is why I love IPAs, but I can't drink IPAs all day.
Good Lord.
I like when I go out to dinner, I'll drink 2 pints of IPAs. That's as much as I really need.
Well, I hop, skip, and jump from everything. I go to
you
brown, to
travel
stout,
around.
all the time. Okay, do you want me to give them to you?
So here's what we'll do. I'm going to ask you, sir, to give me your pick of number 1.
Number 1, it came to me immediately. If I'm wrong, I couldn't go back on it because my mind went poof, and it was there. The number 1 is from Public House, and it's Dry Fly IPA. That's incorrect?
Correct, sir.
I got that right?
That is Dry Fly. Number 1
If I get 1 out of 5, to get skunked is horrible.
You technically matched me. Technically, because I scratched out 2 of mine, and I ended up with 1 out of 5.
I'm not going. If I only got 1, I'm already happy.
Well, you're doing well, sir.
Oh God. Okay.
Let's go to your second choice, another fine IPA. What, sir, is number 2?
Number 2 hit me also really quick, but I wasn't sure until I tasted the rest. I'm still not sure. But the first thing I thought of, I was like, you know what? I really didn't think of anything else, so I just wrote it down and thought, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I wrote it down as Dogfish Head 60-minute IPA. Yes? What?
Correct, sir.
Oh, my God. Just to have 2. Life is good.
Life is good.
Life is good.
Good thing that you are now the promoter of the largest beer fest in Missouri.
Can I have a drink of an IPA while I'm sitting here?
Yes, you should.
I'm almost more nervous now.
Let's have another sip of this delicious Goose Island IPA, available at any local establishment that you go to. Ask for Goose Island by name.
Not certain about the rest. The only other one that I had the immediate gut action on was number 5. But so we're close. Got 2 of the 5 are now out of the way. So if I looked at the other 3, I'm like.
So let's go to number 3, shall we?
Okay. Number 3, I listed as out of St. Louis, second largest brewer out of St. Louis, Schlafly's IPA.
For number 3.
For number 3.
Unfortunately, sir, that is incorrect.
Oh, which means one of the other ones is incorrect also.
Would you like me to tell you what number 3 is?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm going to tell you.
Unfortunately, you did not get number 3.
Well, that means I got both the other ones wrong, I'm thinking.
Maybe.
No. I got number 5 right. Let's go to number 5.
You want to go to number 5 first?
I want to go to number 5.
Number 5. Because 4 was the one that you thought, man, the look of it, it's considerably lighter, almost a little hazy compared to the others.
And I didn't even think about the haze and the fact that Burr Oak Brewing does not have a filtering system. I went with number 5 as Big Tree IPA from Burr Oak Brewing.
You would be correct.
Yes! And so I swapped the other 2, so I got 3 out of 5. It was Schlafly, and it was Mother's Little Helper. Oh, my gosh.
Gut choices, 3 out of 5 each.
Yeah. So the Dry Fly immediately stepped out of me, and I probably haven't had the Dry Fly beer in
Right. By the way, number 4 would
4 or
be
5 months.
4 is Schlafly.
Yeah, so I swapped those 2
swapped
around.
Schlafly and Mother's, which
the Dogfish Head 60-minute brewing had an immediate flavor that reminded me of 90-minute, I guess, and I was like, that's Dogfish Head. They've got something there going for them, and it had to be. Big Tree. Out of all of these, I drink on the most regular basis, and when I tried number 5. I was like, that's got to be.
You just want to get rid of a big burp right now?
Just a little bit. I was like, but if I had thought about the filtering and the fact that Burr Oak does not have filtering, but obviously, let me turn these around. Schlafly, big brewery, and they want to filter their beer. They do use it.
Yes, they do.
And here we have Mother's, which this is unfiltered also.
Right.
And so out of Springfield, Missouri.
It has a sort of light, unfiltered apple juice look.
Dude, if you bet 3 out of 5 in Major League Baseball, you've done okay.
You're going to the Hall of Fame.
So
That's 600.
I'm going to the Beer Hall of Fame.
Just like I'm going to the Whiskey Hall of Fame.
Wow. I would say mine was easier than yours.
I don't know.
You had more information on choosing, so you made it more difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think picking these 5 IPAs out of those is easier than picking the 5 whiskeys out of what I pulled out for you. And I don't pull it out for you very often.
No, not very often. Not as often as I would like. No.
Am I right? Am I right?
I don't know.
I think so.
You listen. It's no mystery that in this world of beer, it's your strength versus mine, right? You drink beer way more than I do. You probably drink 10 times the amount of beer a year that I do. I don't drink a ton of beer. I just don't. I mean, I have it. I enjoy it on a hot
and what
day.
some people might not know listening to the show also is that you're pretty reserved on how much you drink at all.
Yeah, especially
you're very
when we're
controlled
out.
on that.
Yeah, when we're out.
I'm the guy that goes out and says, no. My keys are in my pocket, and it's an Uber night all the way, baby.
Yeah.
And you go out and you go, no, I'm having a couple whiskeys while I eat a sizable meal. And you always eat a lot more than me. I drink a lot more than you.
And I do that. It's a control thing. Yeah. I don't like to be out of control, especially in public.
Unless you take the muscle relaxer.
Well, at least I was at my own house.
And then those smash burgers turn into whatever. I think unless you have some housekeeping we have to get to, and I don't know.
Oh.
What
did I say the over-under was?
You said the over-under was 55.
Okay, cool.
What did we?
I mean, let's just do just a little bit more housekeeping.
Okay.
No, we're at 52.
Well, because we didn't have a guest on today, I think it probably means right that we're probably at the right time.
This is perfect. I mean, at the end of the day, let's remind people, while we love for you to watch us, and that is a great way to check us out on Facebook, you can also download us as a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere you download podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart, you name it, we're there. Subscribe, and you'll have it every Thursday morning for you. Don't forget, if you need to get a hold of us, you can email us at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com.
Am I running underneath you right now with an outro, or am I still waiting to hit 55?
I mean, you can hit it whenever you want.
Well, I don't want to.
I mean, we didn't pick, so it's not a problem.
That's true.
I am staring at that bird, though. That bird is really pissing me off.
I know. You got to get out there and get after it. Let me tell you that if you heard this podcast and you haven't checked out other podcasts before, it's not always about beer, but occasionally we do want to actually focus in on beer and have a good time with it. And so that's wow.
Beer is merely the liquid that leads to conversation.
And we like to do that at least once a week.
At least.
TomsWorldBeerTour.com. Let's get the hell out of here. I've got a bunch of glasses to clean up by polishing off. So we'll do that. Am I right?
You're right.
This has been a podcast story. Tom's World Beer Tour. For future episodes, download and subscribe where you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or send us an email at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. All content property of Tom's World Beer Tour, copyright 2021. No beer was harmed during this production. Only consumed.